It is still scorching hot through the rest of the weekend. All week long, we've been giving you ways to stay cool and safe in intense heat. But what about your pets, your family, friends? Our next guest will tell us how to protect your four-legged friend when the temperatures are this high. Here's Dr. Amber Karwicki, a partner doctor at Heart and Paw Veterinarian. Welcome, doctor.
Hi, thank you for having me, Monica.
Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we always talk about some of the things that you need to check on during this heat, you know, the young, the elderly, and pets. How hot is too hot for pets to spend time outside?
So definitely when we're getting into the 90s with these humidities that go to like the 100 degrees, that's when we're getting a little too hot for your pets to stay outside for lengthy times.
And, you know, it's so interesting in the winter, they do have their winter coat, but can't that also be really tough in the summer?
For some dogs, it does help with their regulation, so we don't want to shave the dogs if they're not normally supposed to, because it can actually make them warmer. But your thicker coated dogs, like your huskies, they'll have a little bit of trouble outside in this intense heat.
Right, so that was my next question. We just talked about huskies. What other dog breeds are especially sensitive to heat?
So your brachycephalic breeds, so those are your short-nosed breeds, like your pugs, your Frenchies, and your bulldogs. They already will have breathing issues, so in the heat, it's amplified for them.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we kind of knew that they always have a tough time. You can hear them breathing outside, and you're like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Lots of folks, especially those who live in the city, walk their dogs several times a day, which is great because they need to get rid of some of that energy. You know, you got to take them out. But what are some tips that you have for walking dogs on extremely hot days?
So you want to keep your longer walks to the morning or the evening when it's going to be cooler outside, and your midday walks very short. And then especially if you're in an area with lots of sidewalk or asphalt, you want to test it with your hand. If it's too hot to keep your hand on there, they should not be walking on it. You should use booties or try walking in grass if possible for those days when it's way too hot, because otherwise you'll do burns on their paw pads.
Oh, that makes me so sad to even think of. Are there any other don'ts that pet owners should be aware of, especially when it comes to leaving your fur baby unsupervised on hot days?
So definitely not in a car. Even with your windows open, that car is going to get too hot for them to breathe. And then if you are going to leave them outside, it should only be short amounts of time. They should have ample shade and cool water available to them.
Okay, some pets like young puppies require a lot of playtime, like we were just talking about, getting them outside because they need to get rid of some of that energy somehow. Do you have any suggestions for making sure your dog still burns off that energy even if it's too hot outside?
So if you have enough room in your house, throwing a tennis ball or using a laser pointer down the hallway is sometimes good because they'll be able to chase back and forth. And then, like I said, using that time in the morning and evening. If you have to go out midday, bringing water with you and training them to drink out of a portable water source is always a good idea.
Okay, doctor, what are some signs that your dog is overheated?
So signs of heat stroke, abnormal breathing, their gums can be kind of sticky and tacky instead of moist. Gums will change color more to like a bluish or purplish tint, and they can act disoriented.
Oh, okay. So check the gums, and if they're acting different, what should people do?
Definitely head for your veterinarian. If they're not open, one of the local ERs in our area is where you should head for.
Okay, animal ER. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us with really important information. Don't forget to check your humans and your pets as well. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Coming up, the worst spot for any first